I was trying to rig a springy antenna in Blender, but I couldn't find an explanation that I liked. Fine, I'll do it myself. We'll use this cylinder as a base. You can use whatever you like. To create our guide geometry, we need a single vertex in a new object. Use whatever method you like to do that, and then extrude that up to where you want the end of your spring to be. Now we make two vertex groups for this object. We'll call one of them goal and the other one antenna base, and assign both vertices to both groups. This object is just going to be a guide for our springy rig, and we need both of these vertex groups for our cloth sim to work properly. Now we select only the top vertex and set the vertex weight for the goal group to something less than 1. I went for 0.7. Now let's start on our rig. I'm just going to add a single bone. I'm going to put it inside of our cylinder, and I'm going to call this antenna base so that it's the same as the vertex group in our guide. Now I'm just going to move this around and add a couple of keyframes so that when we turn the sim on we can see it working. Now we're going to select our guide object again and go over to the modifiers panel and add an armature. Select the rig we just made. Because the vertex group antenna base is set up correctly, it snaps immediately to the bone with the same name. Now I'm going to go over to the physics panel and assign this as a soft body object. I'm going to make sure that the goal is set to the goal vertex group, and I'm going to turn off edges. You can come back and tweak all of these values later, but for now I'm just going to set the mass to 0.5. We press play and yeah, it wobbles. You can change how much the top vertex wobbles by going into the goal vertex group and changing the weight for that vertex. Now that we've got our guide working, let's make the rig follow it. We're going to add an empty object and place it exactly where the top vertex of our guide object is. Now we select our empty, shift click to also select our guide object, tab into edit mode. Make sure we've got the top vertex selected and hit Command or Control P to parent the empty to that vertex. And if you've done that correctly, it'll now follow that vertex. Now we can finally add a bone to act as our spring in the rig. So we'll extrude it out of the base like this, and I'm going to name this bone antenna spring. I'm going to make this bone a bendy bone. To help see it, I'm going to change the viewport display from octahedral to B-bone, and for now I'll set the segments for that bone to 3. And to make the bone point in the right direction, we're going to add a stretch 2 constraint to it, set the target to our empty, and I'm also going to set the volume variation to 0. And now our spring bone both wobbles and bends. Now we'll create the geometry for our antenna. Don't forget to assign your armature to this and make sure that the entire object is in the antenna spring vertex group. And now our geometry wobbles. This doesn't look as bendy as I would have liked, so we'll go back to the B bone and turn the segments up a little bit. Much better. For best results, we always bake, so make sure your frame range is set correctly and hit that button. Your geometry can be any shape you like. Here's a spring. I've also animated some rotation in that base bone, and you can see that that affects the rig too. I hope this helps you as much as it would have helped me yesterday. I'll see you in the next one.